Create content to show you're the expert, because part of PR is building that authority and that credibility. We live in the world of social media. If you're not actively promoting yourself, if you're not actively teaching your audience what you're good at, then it's going to be harder for you to land podcasts and meetings. Put yourself out there. Hey, it's Renee. Welcome to the Into the Wild Show, the podcast for women who want to build incredible mental strength to level up their business and lifestyle. I'm Renee Warren, the founder of We Wild Women, author, speaker, award-winning entrepreneur, and your host. Together, we will make you unapologetic about shining your light, growing your business, and turning you into a wildly confident and successful leader. This is for you, the visionary, the go-getter, the entrepreneur, and for those that need a real kick in the butt to get going and to dream bigger. Each week, I bring in leading experts and entrepreneurs to help you take leaps in the right direction, because I know the best advice comes from someone who has successfully done it before. So, are you ready to level up? Welcome to Into the Wild. Hey, you wild women. Renee here, coming at you with another solo episode. And today I want to talk about all the reasons why a lot of founders and small business owners don't do PR, outside of understanding that it can be a costly investment if you hire an agency or somebody to work with you. Now, I know these facts to be true because I hear it all the time when I'm talking with friends or on sales calls about why people find PR to be extremely overwhelming. And I get it, because even as a PR expert, as a pro who's been doing this for years, there are moments when I think it's overwhelming. And I think just like anything in our business, when we're trying to reach that momentum, when we're trying to establish authority and credibility in the space, is we can get a little burnt out doing the same thing over and over again and not really seeing results. Now, there are many reasons for that. However, when it comes to PR and why this is uniquely different than most other things with marketing, is that to be successful with getting attention from the media or getting on podcasts, it requires that consistency in showing up. And I'm going to talk about this in one of the reasons why we find PR overwhelming. But most importantly is in all of this, if you even just stop listening to this episode right now, the most important thing is that you keep going. Consistency is your currency when it comes to pitching, when it comes to following up. It's boring sometimes, it's mundane sometimes, but I know this to be true. The people that get on podcasts, the people that get on TV, that get on radio, that get that media coverage are those that are constantly showing up. So here are some reasons why you might find it overwhelming if you've ever done this before. If not, don't be alarmed by this, but this is actually just a precursor to what to expect if you do start doing your PR. Now, if you do enroll in my Authority Booster Intensive program, it's a done-for-you world-class PR strategy in which my team creates the strategy, teaches you how to plug it into your marketing initiatives and to execute on the strategy yourself. You'll understand and you'll start to feel some of these emotions come up. And this is why it's so important for me to talk to you about this, because I just want to set those expectations. This is the reason why people that do have the resources that they invest into hiring a publicist or a PR expert, because it can be time consuming. Now, I will iterate this in the first point. However, if you can dedicate an extra 4 to 5 hours per week, and I know that sounds like a lot, but let me tell you, if you're launching something or if you have something really important coming up in the next 6 months, this is a crucial element to get that exposure. It'll put you ahead of the competition and it'll get that momentum and traffic and that recognition that I know that you're looking for. So without further ado, here are the top 10 reasons why PR is overwhelming for small business owners. Number 1, the obvious one, limited resources. Now, resources in this case can be time and money. So we often face these resource constraints, including like budget and staff and time, making it challenging for you to effectively roll out a PR campaign. But also on that is sometimes you just don't know what to do. And I'm going to talk about that another point. But I do want to double click on this particular thing about time. We think it takes 20 to 40 hours a week to do PR for ourselves. Now, if you really want to hit 10 million home runs, then you can go all in on this. However, I don't suggest that. Once you create the strategy and you start pitching, I'd say the best way to actually approach this is to schedule 4 to 5 hours a week to do the pitching and the follow-up, right? You pitch and you follow up. So the cadence would be something like pitch 10 contacts on a Wednesday, follow up on a Thursday. And that's consistent over time. And that sounds easy, right? But what comes before that, and this is again the time constraint and the expertise constraint, is that you're constantly building out your media list. You're finding relevant journalists, you're finding relevant podcasts to be on, and you're filling up the media list. You can train your VA to do this. And all of this that I'm telling you right now is stuff that I teach you, and some of it I do for you in the Authority Booster Intensive, which is the PR VIP Day. You can train a VA or a second in command to actually do this so that you're not personally doing it. I don't want to say it's simple. It requires a level of expertise, and especially somebody that can actually, quote, read the play, and to be able to do this effectively. However, if it's you or somebody on your team, once that strategy is complete and it's signed off on, you should only be doing this for about 4 to 5 hours a week. So number 2, why people find PR overwhelming is many just give up way too soon. I say it takes about a solid 90 days of constant outreach, pitching, follow-up, and tweaking your approach to see momentum. Don't give up too soon. You must follow the process. And this is why we average about 10 contacts per week. I was actually talking to a friend a couple days ago, and she was mentioning how she loves who she's working with. She's getting some wins with getting on podcasts and getting in the media, so that she's hired somebody to help do the pitching. And she goes, but I just feel like the volume's a little low. And I asked her, I go, well, how many pitches are going out? And she said 6 a month. I don't know. Like, clearly there's a memo in the PR world that I didn't get, because I thought that was ridiculous. I don't know how much she's paying. Regardless, it just seems like not a good investment, even if she's just paying $20. And the reason why I say this is because it is a volume game, in the sense that if you have the killer pitch, the killer hook, you are the authority in this space, or you're building that authority, you have that credibility, whether it's the expertise, the wins, the education, whatever it is, you can do this. And 6 per month isn't going to get you anywhere. And it's interesting because I've talked to many other people that were in the process of hiring another publicist or a PR agency. And they're like, yeah, they pitch about 10 a month or 20 a month. And I said, wow, okay, we're obviously doing something right. We understand this takes a little extra time, but the process that we have and what we teach you in the Authority Booster Intensive is to build this cadence of pitch 10 a week, follow up with 10. That should be your minimum. And if you sit down and you really hone in on a 2-hour time block and you have no distraction, you can get this done. So that being said, is people give up too soon. Give yourself 90 days. And actually, a part of our guarantee in the Authority Booster Intensive is that if you don't see at least 2 wins, 2 to 3 podcasts per month in 90 days, we will refund you a certain % of your money, because we know this process works so well. I mean, I see people, they come back after a month and a half. They're like, oh, it's not working. And I go, how many people did you pitch? They're like 6. I go, did you tweak your pitch? Did you look at ways of optimizing it, optimizing the subject line? They said, no, we copy and paste exactly the template and we pitched 6 people. Did you follow up? Nope, they never followed up. So the thing about it is people get lazy. They get lazy, and especially after the first couple weeks when they're not seeing that momentum, they get lazy even after a couple wins. It's like even Joey Coleman, he says the first 100 days of having a new customer is the most important. So you kind of have to wine and dine them. The same goes for dating your PR strategy, is you have to wine and dine it for 90 days. So number 3 is what overwhelms most small businesses with PR is that lack of expertise. And I get it because most people are like, where do I start? What do I do? Who do I say it to? How do I say it? When do I follow up? How many times do I follow up? How long should my pitch be? Do I include an attachment? Do people read press releases anymore? There's so many things. And I get it. For me, it's easy because I've been doing this for so long. For newbies or people that have not done it effectively before, this is very overwhelming. So the most important thing is actually if you go to wewildwomen.com, I have some free resources there. I also share a lot of stuff on my personal Instagram account, Renee_Warren, as well as our We Wild Women Instagram account on how to do this. I have talked about this on previous podcast episodes. I have YouTube shorts. I have so much free content out there teaching you how to do this. I don't want to say there's no reason you can't, but really, if you stitch together enough of the information that's provided for you freely online, you can do this. Where people actually fall short, and I would say the most common thing too, is how to pitch and how to follow up. So you can find media lists online, you can pay for them, you can pay hundreds or thousands of dollars, and you can get all the context you need. That's really irrelevant in the sense that if you don't have your hook, your pitch, your angle, the one thing you want to be known for, if you don't have the reason for pitching set up, your messaging, that creative writing, that unique hook, it doesn't matter who you pitch, it's just not going to land. So the lack of expertise truly falls onto the creative component, how your pitch looks like, how long it should be, how you follow up, and what to include in that. So there's actually a freebie on my website. If you go to wewildwomen.com, at the very bottom, scroll down, there's a freebie that teaches you a lot of this. It's a good starting point. It's a good primer. So number 4 is in building brand awareness, right? Establishing brand recognition and generating awareness among your target audience is probably one of the most significant challenges most businesses face. And it's really interesting because people come to me, they say, Renee, I want to grow my brand. I don't have much of a following, and I want to use PR to get there. The problem is that there's part of it, it's like the catch-22. It's like, do I use PR to build my brand? Or do I leverage the growth of my brand with PR? Because a lot of times, and I see it with podcasts a lot, is they won't take you as a guest unless you have a significant following or a significant story. And I know we say followers don't matter. In a way, it does. Just like they say downloads don't matter for podcasts, it is your resume to getting on their show. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Now, I actually have an episode coming up with Ali Timo right after this episode. So next week, there is an episode coming out about branding. So just earmark that to tune in because she talks all about branding, professional branding, personal branding, why that is incredibly important for PR. Because I always say, if you don't have an online presence, make one. Choose one social media platform, whatever it is, the one that you know you can update, even if it's just twice a week, something. Create content to show you're the expert, because part of PR is building that authority and that credibility. We live in the world of social media. If you're not actively promoting yourself, if you're not actively teaching your audience what you're good at, then it's going to be harder for you to land podcasts and media. Put yourself out there. Hey, ladies, I gotta share this with you. I got a text message the other day from one of my clients, Callan, and it reads this. Renee, I gotta share this with you. I got on 3 great podcasts last month, and this month has been my biggest month ever. $100,000 revenue as of today. 8 out of 10 of my clients came from podcast audience. I'm so grateful for you and your incredible VIP day. It has been a game changer for my business, and I thank you so much. Wow. I mean, that's just proof that podcasting works. And that's just one example. Another one of my clients, Allison, she says, Renee, the solution you provide is super valuable, even beyond pitching the media. I've used it to reach out to warm leads, which has increased engagement and is helping me grow my business. So there's something to be said about the people that are investing in the Authority Booster Intensive Day, so my VIP day, which is me creating your world-class PR strategy, which comes with so much custom content, a custom pitch list, which is I'm writing and my team is writing your pitches, the pitches that you would reach out to the podcast, to bloggers, to media, to TV, to radio, as well as a custom media list. So this is sourced from our database, our master list of media and we pluck the right contacts based on your business goals so that we can help you create a PR strategy that your team can integrate and just plug into the marketing tactics that you're already doing. So if you're interested in signing up for the VIP day, I do a couple a month. You can go to wewildwomen.com/VIP day. That's wewildwomen.com/VIP day. The next one is managing media relations. So this is building relationships with journalists, with bloggers, influencers. This is really generally crucial in gaining media coverage. And many struggle to identify and connect with the right media context while crafting their compelling pitches. So here's the truth about this. I get interviewed from the sense of people want to hire me. And one of the first things people that have worked with a PR agency before have asked, do you have contacts? Do you have personal connections with the media? I used to say yes, because yes, I did. However, in light of recent events in the last couple of years, especially, is larger publications, almost all of them have let go of a significant portion of their staff writers, which means that those relationships I used to have with those publications directly have completely dissolved. Which means those writers have often either moved on to different jobs or different roles or have become freelancers. Now, as a freelance writer, you write for multiple publications. And now you're at the mercy of pitching multiple editors, different angles, or receiving different assignments. Their job became more complicated, all due respect to those incredible journalists, but the publicist's job equally became more complicated. Not to scare you, but in building that relationship, building that media list, this is what happens, and there's nothing we can control. Now, there are some incredible platforms out there like Muckrack, Prowly, you name it. They're very expensive. However, here's what I suggest. If there is something significant coming out that you're announcing, whether it's a book launch or a new product or something that is really significant, it might be worth the short-term investment to actually invest in these softwares to help you build out that list. And there's these platforms do a lot of stuff. Like you can pitch from directly in the platform, which allows you to see if somebody's opened an email. When they opened it, you can reply, all this stuff. There's also cheap or free versions of that software as well. So in the Authority Booster Intensive, we actually go through all that stuff. So we set it up. We use it for the first couple months on your behalf, and then we kind of teach you how to do it yourself. But managing those relationships is really like we always say, connect with the contact, follow them, understand their beat, how they're showing up before you actually pitch them, because adding that personal touch, showing that you actually care about the stuff they're working on is incredibly important. So the next one, as I mentioned before, is crafting a consistent message. So like I said, in creative writing, that's probably one of the more important things in crafting that pitch and your strategy. But show up in a compelling way. So I use ChatGPT a lot to kind of get the creative juices flowing. For instance, I will show up to ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, write me a creative email subject line to pitch the media about X, Y, or Z. And then you play around with the commands that you put into ChatGPT. And I use that as just the basis for like getting the juices flowing. I also look at what my competitors have done or are doing, or my clients' competitors. So you go online on Google. I love this. You Google your competitor's name, and then you click the news tab, and then you click the tools where you can actually look at what has been written about your competitor in the last 6 months. Use that as inspiration. If you're not a creative writer, write the pitch in a Google Doc, then send it out to someone on your team or a friend that you know is a great writer and ask them for feedback. Remember, it needs to be short and sweet with bolded words somewhere, bullet points, no attachments, 1 or 2 links. Think about it. If someone was pitching you to contribute an article for your blog or to be featured on your blog or maybe even your podcast, think about the best pitches that have come through. The ones that are super long with a lot of attachments and different size fonts, colored fonts, bold things underlined, it's really annoying. So just make sure it's clear, concise messaging. You're positioning yourself well. There's a clear call to action so people know why you're reaching out. And there's an easy way to follow you to kind of learn more about you. So the next one, I don't really know too much about, to be honest with you. It's called crisis management. So there's a couple different types of PR. One is, building authority, brand awareness, but the other one is crisis management. This is typically if something goes wrong with your personal brand or in your business. What can you say and when should you say it and how should you say it? Like I said, I am not a professional in this. We've had to deal with it a couple times in my career over the 12 years, but there's actually PR firms that are specified to managing crisis management. So essentially what crisis management is handling unexpected crisis or negative publicity. And it can be very daunting to your business. It can be heartbreaking, for lack of a better word, and it's very frustrating and it's all consuming. And so if you have that help maybe internally or externally to be able to deploy crisis management communications, then do that. But just know that it's not overly common if you're a small business, but as you're a growing business with multiple clients and multiple customers, as well as a growing team, then crisis management is definitely important for you. The next one is measuring PR success, because how do we measure this? It's not like Facebook ads or Google ads where you know how much an ad's costing you, you know how many views it's getting, or you know how much a click is worth or an email is worth. It's not like that with PR. Now, I actually wrote a beautiful article for Prowly that I'm going to put in the show notes below because I'm not going to double click on this right now, but it's about PR measurement. And one of the things that really comes to surface is, how do we measure this? What is the ROI? And you have to ask yourself this question and put that as a goal before going in to doing your own PR. And why is that? Because you need to know what you are working towards. You need to know the efforts that you're putting out there in terms of getting on podcasts and in the media. What is the ROI? Here's an example. My now friend Callan, she did the Authority Booster Intensive with me. Which, I'm not going to lie, currently it costs $5,000 US to have the strategy built out for you. And she said that she went in the first couple weeks when she was pitching the podcast exactly as I taught her. She landed, I don't know how many podcasts. It doesn't matter, because what matters most is that she had her highest revenue month because of podcasting, because of being on those shows. She said that her revenues for the month of which she was on those shows, which she can attribute to being a guest on those podcasts, was $100,000. So do you think that that was ROI positive? I do. She did exactly as I said, exactly when she was supposed to do it, and understood that there were these expectations in PR, right? Some people will say no, some people won't follow up, some people won't reply at all this stuff. However, she did it, and that's what she got. And this was just recently. So understanding that measuring PR, there's a lot of professionals that have different perspectives on this. My perspective is if you can attribute something like being on a podcast because of pitching and you received $100,000, that's attribution for sure to your PR efforts. So the next thing too, when it comes to PR and why this overwhelms small businesses, is content creation. Producing high quality content. This could be like press releases and blogs and social media updates. All this stuff requires time. And yes, blogging and social media is a form of public relations. Part of our retainer work in our Sidelines to Headlines program, our biggest package includes what we call the PR engine. This is traditional PR meets content marketing and social media, because it all plays into each other. Social media is important because when you're pitching yourself or somebody's pitching you, journalists, editors, you name it, will actually go to that social media account to see how credible you are, to see the authority you've built for yourself and kind of how you show up and how you talk. And this is important too, especially if you're going to be interviewed for a video or on TV or radio, is they want to know, can you communicate? Are you articulate? Because if you talk like this and well, no one can understand you, right? No, you have to show up like the guest that they are dying to have on their show. So content creation is very important. We've used this before, and a perfect example is one time we had a client we were writing a lot of content for. I think 2 or 3 contributed articles a week, which went out to Forbes, Business Insider, Entrepreneur, as well as a weekly LinkedIn article. We did this over and over and over again every week for probably about a year. From that, an article plus the consistency enough showing up on social media, as well as other content, other media wins we got, garnered, I think it was a Fox News interview, right? And then from there, we used that as the leverage we needed to pitch Steve Harvey's show, of which our client got a full TV segment about his story. So that's a huge win. And one of the bigger examples we have of how content has allowed us to complement our PR initiatives and got him in the news. And in the coming weeks, we're actually recording another episode about how to use Haro, help a reporter out, for backlinks. We talk about like SEO plays a huge role in PR. And here's why. Because if you get mentioned in a high notable publication online, so we'll say like Forbes or Entrepreneur, Wired, Fast Company, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, Women's Day, you name it, and those high ranking sites link back to your site, that's good for your site. So some will argue that's SEO, 100% it is, but the process that got you there was public relations. So this is kind of why you want to be linked to online as much as possible. You need to create great content. Okay, number 9 is keeping up with trends, staying up to date with the ever-evolving world of public relationships. This includes how to consume media, what's happening on TikTok, for instance. Like I had a client, actually, when I was coaching, she's a really prolific journalist. And she said, Renee, you need to be on TikTok to understand the trends that are happening. I was like, oh my gosh, whenever I go on TikTok, it's always a rabbit hole. And 15 minutes always lasts 2 hours. So I was trying to step away from TikTok, but I understand we have to pay attention to what the trends are, what's happening. Like the Barbie meme was a huge thing now that's dying out. How can we newsjack that? How can we hijack the theme of talking about Barbie? What platforms are coming of age? Threads was a big thing. And I know for the first couple of weeks, it had a huge surge and now it's kind of dying out or evening out. But is that actually significant to you? Should you be on there? What communications tools are changing and evolving? So it used to be where there was only a handful of PR tools that you could sign up for, Cision being one of them. And it was like $10,000 a year, right? Small business owners don't have that money. However, there are cheaper or free tools now you can use to actually put together a decent PR strategy, a decent PR campaign. And so just keeping up with trends, looking at news, following news, setting up to Google alerts, just to really see what's going on in your industry, in your business universe all of the time. This is on a daily basis, even if it's just a 5 to 10 minute skim every day. It's really important. Okay, lastly, balancing PR with other responsibilities. Get this, you have many things you're juggling, whether it's hiring new people, setting up a new website, copywriting stuff, landing new clients, business development, accounting, legal, and then you have a life outside of running your small business. It's a lot. I get it. I'm living it too. But the reality is that if you can implement a PR strategy that allows you, just like working out, a little bit every day, you will get ahead of the competition. You will get your name in the spotlight. And I promise you, if you follow the rules, if you follow the laws of PR, you will start getting some media wins. So all this to say is it's important, it's crucial. Everyone should be doing PR, regardless of what stage of business you're in. If you're just starting out, start the strategy, set up the process, start following the journalists that you know write about your topic. Engage with them, like their stuff, comment on their stuff. That's all part of the process. It's all part of the journey. If you can put a couple little inputs every single day into growing your authority, growing your credibility, expanding your network, this will get so much easier for you. You'll start to see how this works. Anyways, I want to leave you on this note, is that PR isn't complicated. Once you've learned the basics of it, the hardest part, like I said earlier, is just showing up, doing the work, pitching and following up, allowing yourself to create that cadence so that you can be successful with this. Now, if all of this is just like blowing smoke up your butt or it's going in one ear, coming out the other, here's the opportunity for you. I have 2 programs. There's one is Sidelines to Headlines, which is your typical retainer model, of which I do all of this for you. You don't have to worry. The second option is the Authority Booster Intensive. That is a done-for-you strategy in which I guide you and your team on how to pitch and how to follow up. We build your media list, we build your media kit, we build you all the things you need to do to just take it and run with it. On top of that, Once you start doing that process, if you understand it, but it just becomes so time consuming for you, we do offer the opportunity to complete, because what we do is we build out a 100 contact media list for you. We do offer you the opportunity for us to complete pitching that 100 contacts for you. And then from there, we can see kind of how it goes. But the whole idea is that you have this media list of 100 vetted contacts for podcast, media, you name it. Our team can complete that pitching for you. So if you're interested in any of these programs, go to www.wewildwomen.com and then look at the programs. There's only 2 listed there. If you have any questions, please DM me on Instagram, Renee_Warren, and we can chat. Until next time, ladies, peace out. So there you have it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Into the Wild. To make this girl happy and to help reach other women who are dreaming of starting their business, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and everywhere you listen in. Also, if you want to find me in the wild, check me out on Instagram at Renee_Warren. That's RENEE_WARREN. And leaving you with one of my favorite tips of all time. The best advice you could ever receive is from someone who has successfully done it before you. Until next time, ladies, peace out.